Hello and welcome to 5 a Day with Jay. I'm Jay. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. How are you? Awesome to see you. So glad you're here. Tonight, it rained last night. Woke up, had a little bit of a headache, decided I wasn't going to push it, wasn't going to work out. I've been getting in the routine of getting up early so I can work out and then do a little bit of either writing, editing, whatnot, and then move over to the work computer. Over there. Right there. So I can move over to the work computer and then start working, get done, and then I'll be refreshed and go about my day. So today started out differently. Got up a little later, just gave my chance. I had to recover. It rained, it hailed, sun came out, it rained and it hailed again, then it rained some more and then it stopped, and odd weather for San Diego for sure. That said, this evening, or this afternoon, when I got done with work, went and did my workout, got done, took my shower, and I realized what time it was, and I'm like, hey, it's almost 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. I haven't met with my writers group in quite some time. As I've mentioned before on this channel, the Dead Robot Society, several of us got together and started a writers group. It's continuing to this day. That was years ago we got that started. Completely different crew that has come and gone. Pretty core group of people that stick around nowadays. Great to see them all. Wonderful to revisit and catch up with everybody. When I started sharing what I'm about to do coming up on May 5th, I mean, everyone's excited. Everyone on that writers group is always good to bash ideas back and forth on, and it's a great group of people, always good discussion. We wound up talking, when we first started we used to go for about an hour. Now it starts around 4:30 and I joined at 5. We didn't finish until almost 7. So always good discussion, always great to get on with the whole gang on there and just see where everyone's at, where everyone's going, how things are happening. We've got a couple of the bigger writers. We've had Terry Mixon and Paul join us on occasion. We've got J.R. Handley on there, who's always wonderful to have on there. And it was just, we wound up covering a couple of major topics, and one of them was reach. Where are we expanding our reach to find audience, to gain audience, to try and pick up audience members? And that's where I've told this many times. I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, I'm on all the social medias trying to promote my brand, but the biggest thing I need to do is get books out. And that's what a couple of the folk are, they're like, I'm just trying to get the next book out. I'm just trying to get the next book out. Then we got onto the topic of one of the authors said the biggest challenge they have is investing $2,000 to $3,000 to get their book ready to publish, between spending money on a book cover and all of the money they need to spend on editing to get the book edited and up to speed. I'm of the mindset of put the best work out that you can. If you can't afford to spend $3,000-$4,000 on editing a book, don't spend that much on editing a book. Granted, even if you can't spend $1,000 on editing, on getting professional editing services, don't spend that. But don't let that be a hindrance to getting work out. If you can't spend $500, $800, $1,000 on a book cover, learn how to make them on your own. This is something I picked up from Dean Wesley Smith, from Mike Stackpole, from a number of authors, and I know people say, well, they already have a following. That doesn't mean that they're just going to willy-nilly throw anything out and people are going to gobble it up and read it. People will still critique and complain about their work just like they would anybody else's work. If it's not done up to a certain level of quality, people will be like, well, no, I don't want to read this. Dean very classically does cyclical editing. He'll write a section step away, do something, come back, read what he wrote, and clean up as he's going through it, write the next one. Very minor edits ever get done to his work. Usually it's just line edits, and then out it goes. That's the way he writes. He's been doing it for decades. Mike Stackpole, very similar in the way that he writes. Both of them are very big proponents of get the work done, make it the best you can make it, and get it out. If that means you have to edit on a budget, if you have to do book covers on a budget, do that. But get the content out there. It will never find an audience if it's not out there on the market. That being said, some people are perfectionists. I get that. They want the work to be perfect. Chef kiss. I understand the need to do that. And if you have the means, spend the money. Other folks like J.R. Handley, he's very much a proponent of here's his level of writing ability. He wants the editing to be at this level, and he wants the editor to make up that difference. Wonderful. He has the means, and he knows that his books will sell enough to cover that gap. Wonderful. Come back to me. For my books, I'm making them the best I can. I've gone through, I have multiple editing programs that I use, and I've had all the short stories I've had an editor friend who's read them, given me critique, giving me updates. I've run them through Grammarly. I've run them through Microsoft Word, grammar and spelling check. I've run them through OneCheck. So they've been through 3 different levels plus my own read through to make sure, even as I'm editing, I'm going through going, okay, does that sound right? Why is the spell check popping in here? And I'll read through. Are they going to be perfectly edited? Probably not. They will be at the best level I can get them. As far as the story, I feel the story is strong. That's where I believe the story does well. I've had critiques before where people come in and go, oh, well, on this page there was a typo. 1 star. I guarantee you can pick up any book. You're going to find a typo, a grammatical error. You pick up a Stephen King book, you will find typos or grammatical errors. People will miss them. It happens. No book is perfect. I guarantee you no book is perfect. As long as you've made it the best book you can, readers, for the most part, are forgiving. Yes, there will be sticklers. There will be people that will just rip your book up and down. Now, if it's riddled with errors, as some of mine have been, people will rip it apart. Understandable. It will throw the person out of the book if there's just spelling error after grammar error after spelling error. That can be fixed. The biggest challenge is to make sure going forward you're cleaning that type of thing up. As I've mentioned, I've gone back and I've re-edited all of my books. Right now I'm getting all of the short stories compiled and ready to go. I want to have all of the short stories done, cleaned up, formatted as an ebook and ready to go. Then I'm going to assemble them as anthologies, piece everything together, have them done, ready to go. That will give me all of the short stories and 3 novels that will be, 3 collections, anthologies, whatever you want to call them, 3 that'll be ready to go. And then I've got 4 other books that I need to work on. And the anthologies will be print and ebook as well. So I need to make sure I have the ebook version ready to go and the print version ready to go. Then I'm going to go and work on the other books in the series and make sure they're ready to go. Being that I've gone back and I've done the same level of editing and read through on V&A Shipping 1 and 2 and Giant Robot Planetary Competition Book 1, I need to update the contents of those books. I need to get the content updated, I need to get the print versions redone, and make sure that they're still up to par. Then I'm going to work on all of the ebooks. Make sure all the ebooks that I have ready to go are done and out there. Then I need to go through and make sure the print versions are ready to go. I'm giving myself as I've said, May 5th is when I want to launch this. I would like to have all of this work done by the end of March, giving me April to just sit down and write. Sit down and write, do 5 a day with Jay, all that fun stuff. That's my goal. I would like to have this book done by May 5th. That means I will have 5 books ready to go and the other 3 anthologies. 8 books. That's 8 months worth of books ready to go, plus all of the short stories. That gives me 8 months to write the other 4 books. I know I can write a book every 2 months. That means at the end of that 8 months, I'll have another 4 books done. That's 12 books. That's a year putting out a book a month and a short story every other week. That's a lot of content. That is an incredible amount of content. If I were to try and pay an editor and pay a cover artist for every single one of those, that's a lot of money. I guarantee you I would not be able to pull out those kind of funds. There's an author that I know that recently had to step back and consider getting a day job. She had a life change that required her readership to assess what she was doing. And a lot of her readers decided this isn't for me. And she lost a large chunk of her income. If you know who I'm talking about, wonderful. I'm not going to name names, but the author was saying she was making between $220,000 and $250,000 a year. Incredible money as a writer. When her income dipped to $150,000, she said, well, I'm going to have to get a day job. I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. And people were like, excuse me, why? She was putting in approximately $70,000 to $80,000 a year into her books, her editing, her covers, her marketing, all of that. $70,000 to $80,000 a year. That's an incredible amount of money. Now, granted, if you're making $250,000 and you can afford to shell out that kind of money to keep the train a-rolling, wonderful. More power to you. I'm a small fish. I'm a tiny, tiny little fish. I don't have that kind of money. I will be writing the books on my own, editing the books as the best I can. I will be doing the covers for the books. My favorite daughter will be helping me with covers as well for the short stories. I will be recording the audio for the books on my own. I will be publishing the books on my own. I will be a one-man steam train rolling down the track on my own. It's all here. Granted, I have a support system with my family, making sure that I have the time necessary to do what I'm doing. Love them to death for what they're doing. But as far as money to spend, the number of books I'm going to be putting out, I don't have $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 to put into making sure the books are absolutely perfect. They'll find an audience. I still have no doubt that these books will find an audience, even if they're not the magic dust that some people think books should be. Nothing against the authors that put the money into their books. I think it is admirable that they can and that they have that level of confidence. Not that I don't have confidence in my books, it's the means. One thing I won't do is not put out the books just because I don't have the money to make them perfect. I still think they can find an audience, even if they're not. My goal is to address the criticism that some people have come and said, hey, this is poorly edited, it needs to be cleaned up. That's on me. I get it. I have gone back and done that, and I will be not necessarily re-releasing, but putting out cleaned up versions of those books to make sure that the grammar and the editing has been cleaned up. That's one of my goals to get done in the next couple of months. Again, a lot is going to happen over this next year. A lot. I want to be ready. I want to be poised to drop and just go like lightning. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I was going to talk about fear tonight, but meeting with the writing group, a lot of other topics came up. At any rate, I've been talking for a long time. Tomorrow we will talk about how scared to death I am about doing this, and for a number of the reasons that I just mentioned, but for other reasons as well. At any rate, it's been 5 A Day with Jay. I've been Jay. Thank you so much for joining me. You've been awesome. Until next time.